Okay, let's be real for a second. You've been there, right? You have an amazing night with someone, the chemistry is just off the charts, everything feels perfect. And then, nothing. Crickets. You get ghosted and you're just sitting there thinking, what the hell went wrong? Well, it turns out there's some actual science behind why this happens. And spoiler alert, it's got way less to do with what happens between the sheets and a lot more to do with what happens in her brain. So let's really get into it. Why? Why does that incredible connection just evaporate? I mean, you thought you did everything right. The attraction was undeniable. And still, she's gone. The answer? Well, it all comes down to knowing the difference between a cheap thrill and a real lasting bond.
And this right here, this lays it all out. Look, physical chemistry. It's everywhere. It's cheap. It's a quick hit, a temporary thrill that might get you her body for a night. But an emotional connection? Man, that is the real gold. That's the currency of true attraction. That's what gets her soul, and it's what makes you completely unforgettable. So many guys get stuck on the left side of this chart, but all the real power, it's on the right.
All right, so let's geek out for a minute and get into the science of it. Because this isn't just some vague, fluffy feelings thing. We're talking actual brain chemistry here. And it really boils down to a battle between two powerful chemicals, dopamine and oxytocin. So let's talk about the big one, oxytocin. You've probably heard it called the bonding hormone or the cuddle hormone, and for good reason. Her brain floods with this stuff when she feels truly, genuinely safe, when she feels seen, and when she feels valued by you. Think about it. It's the same chemical that gets released when a mother bonds with her newborn baby. This is powerful stuff. It's not just a nice feeling. It's a deep, primal, biological switch that creates an incredibly strong, even addictive connection. Okay, and this is where it all clicks. Look at dopamine. That's the sugar high. It's that quick, short-term rush of pleasure you get from a witty text, a great first kiss, or sex. It feels amazing. Yeah, but just like a sugar high, it crashes. It's temporary. But oxytocin, that's the relationship glue. It's what creates that long-term feeling of comfort, safety, and deep connection. So while most guys are out there just chasing that fleeting dopamine spike, the guy who learns how to trigger oxytocin, he's the one she can't get out of her head. And this is the absolute core of it. When you make a woman feel emotionally safe, her body's biology, her actual wiring literally starts to connect to you. It's primal. And listen, this has nothing to do with being soft or weak. It's about being a rock, being present, being someone she can trust. And let me tell you, that kind of safety is unbelievably sexy. Okay, so enough with the science for a second. Let's see how this plays out in the real world. I've got a great story that perfectly shows the difference between a guy who's all about the dopamine rush and a guy who knows how to build that oxytocin bond. We're going to call them the mannequin and the standard. All right, so there's this woman, we'll call her Nadia. And she starts dating this guy who, I mean, on paper, he was perfect. Tall, rich, ridiculously good-looking, whisking her away on fancy dates. He was literally a walking checklist of everything you're supposed to want in a man. A total mannequin. But here's the thing. This is what she said about him. He had everything going for him on the outside, but on the inside, it was empty. All surface. She said she could tell him her deepest, darkest secret, and he just kind of nod, like she just commented on the weather. There was absolutely zero depth, zero emotional connection, just a good-looking, empty shell. And then she met another guy. Now this guy, he wasn't flashy, he wasn't rich, he definitely didn't have a six-pack. But he had something the mannequin was completely missing, presence. He actually listened. He asked real deep questions. He'd remember the little tiny details she'd mentioned weeks ago. He didn't just see the polished version of her she showed everyone else. He saw her. And just like that, he became her new standard. And here's why that happened. Because with him, she felt like she was finally home, you know? Like she could drop the act, take off the mask, and just be her complete, messy, unfiltered self, and he wouldn't judge her for it. That feeling, it's priceless. And when a man can give a woman that feeling, he doesn't just become another guy in her little black book. No, he becomes the standard, the one everyone else gets measured against. Okay, so you get the why now, right? The science, the story, it all makes sense. So the big question is, how? How do you actually do this? How do you create that kind of insane connection? Well, let's get into the playbook. I've got 5 simple, actionable things you can start doing right now. All right, let's run through these. Step 1,
Ask deep questions. Get past the boring stuff like, what do you do? Ask something that makes her think, like, what's something most people misunderstand about you? That's how you really see who she is. Number 2, mirror her emotions. So if she's telling you she had a brutal day at work, don't just nod. Say something like, wow, that sounds absolutely exhausting. You're showing her you get it. Third, create emotional anchors. You know those little inside jokes or shared memories that build a private world just for the two of you? Number 4, hold space without trying to fix everything. When she's upset, she probably doesn't want you to solve her problem. She just wants you to listen. Just be there. And finally, number 5, and this one is huge. Stop trying so damn hard to impress her.
And this is such a powerful paradox, guys. The more you try to perform, to show off your car or your job or whatever, the more insecure you actually look. Real, true confidence, it's not about puffing out your chest. It's about being so comfortable with yourself that you can be genuinely curious about her. That flips the entire script. It sends a message that says, hey, I don't need to win you over. I just want to know you. And that is so incredibly disarming. All right, let's wrap this all up. Let's bring it home. If you want to be that guy, the one she can't stop thinking about, the one who stands out from every other dude she's ever met, you have to make a fundamental shift in your focus.
It really just boils down to this simple, powerful idea. Look, any guy can make her moan. That's easy. But the man who becomes unforgettable, he's the one who makes her feel. He makes her feel safe, seen, understood. He's the one she can trust, the one she laughs with until her stomach hurts, the one she can open up to without fear. That is the kind of connection that sticks around long, long after the lights go out.
So, I'm going to leave you with this. The next time you have a great night with a woman and it ends in radio silence, before you get frustrated, just ask yourself one simple, honest question. Did I touch her heart or did I just touch her body? Because one is fleeting and the other, well, the other is how you become completely and totally unforgettable.